So we kind of all know that, you know, F1 in schools works. It does deliver opportunities for you all, but you've got to, you know, we're opening the door. You've got to go in there and make it all happen. And you've probably seen people walking around with F1 team shirts on. There's a guy from F1 alumni from Williams now who's going to be going to Mercedes very shortly. But one of our alumni was at the 2019 World Finals, has got some advice. Markus Vetter has joined the Williams Academy. And his career is going from strength to strength. And this is what we need you to understand, to encourage you to just keep living the dream and keep pushing, as Mark said earlier. It's really important that you understand that. So over to Mark to give you his experience. Thank you.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Andrew.
Mark.
Yeah, I think Andrew introduced me pretty well. You might wonder what I'm doing up here. Like only 3 years ago I was at your position. I was sitting here in, you can see it on the screen, at the Do Forum in Abu Dhabi because I was competing at the World Finals in 2019. Since then, a lot has changed in my life, and mostly because of F1 in schools. So I want to share my main takeaways from competing F1 in schools. My message is, shoot your shot. You should really take every opportunity given to you by F1 in schools, because it's a pretty awesome door opener. So first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Markus Vetter. I'm from Germany. You might tell it by my German accent, but yeah, that's okay. Right now, I'm studying mechanical engineering and business administration in Germany. I'm starting year 3 in a few weeks, and I'm as part of the Williams Engineering Academy, as Andrew already told you. The Williams Engineering Academy is a program to support really racing enthusiasts and engineering enthusiasts to get a career into F1, and it really helped me because back then we had an assessment center at the World Finals, which also was attended by George from UCL and Lawrence, he's presenting for F1 in school. So if you have any questions about the program, you can ask them and me afterwards. Yeah, I was competing with my German team Fusion, developing the race car you can see over there. I was part as a research engineer. Yeah, and today I'm part of the off-the-track media team. We are trying to give the enthusiasm we got by the competition to fellow students. All of us had pretty awesome impact by competing in F1 in schools, and we want to share our experience with all of you. So I really want you to check that stuff out. They're really doing a good job. So I'm still a mentor and a judge in F1 in schools, but I'm not judging these World Finals. So when chatting with me, you can be brutally honest about your projects. So let's start a time travel. Back when I was competing, it was like 2012 and 2013. To give you a reference, Bitcoin was valued at $20 back then, so we should have invested. In 2013, we even made it to my first national finals in Germany. Back then, hybrid engines got part of F1, and since then only Mercedes has been winning. In 2015, I started competing with my later on supervisor Sebastian for our World Finals, and an internet meme was born by Drake dropping Hotline Bling. So in 2016 was the first year I started competing with Ritwich, who is also attending these World Finals as a competitor. Back then we tried to develop the fastest car. Yeah, applause for Ritwich. Back then we were trying to develop the fastest car possible. This is our first car together. It's called Falcon, but afterwards we had to name it after the SpaceX rocket Falcon Heavy, because it was basically the most overweight car we ever ran. So I hope you improve. Yeah, after finishing my development class career, we continued competing in the professional class. And in Germany, it's only able to compete in the you're only to qualify for the World Finals if you compete in the professional class. So that was our biggest goal. Our first regional finals, we've been pretty competitive and basically winning everything. But then at the national finals, we really sucked at a presentation, and we haven't been able to qualify for the World Finals. So back then, F1 in schools was switching over from the old logo. I don't even know if one of you remembers the old F1 in schools logo, so it's pretty old school. Yeah, then in 2019, we really gave it a final push. We wanted to qualify for the World Finals. We built our own track testing setup, spent hundreds of hours developing our car, even at our university's wind tunnel. And finally we made it. Of course, we got spoiled. Nothing of this would have been possible without my fellow teammates, so thanks to them. Yeah, back then, like, little funny story, we were developing our car with ANSYS, it's like a CFD software. And then we had a failure input, like an error, for our CO2 gas chamber, where we had like immensely high pressure simulated. And then we were suspected of developing military technology or weapons, because there's like high pressure and high velocity. Then our license got blocked, but we got it back a few days later. So, one of the biggest takeaways you can get by competing in F1 in schools, for me personally, was like making mistakes but learning from it. This quote says, if you make a mistake and do not correct it, this is called a mistake. So, as I've mentioned, we made several mistakes. We were really like getting used to doing mistakes. But this pattern really helped me to conduct a product development project in my studies program with Reising Modellbau. First of all, you have to accept failure as human. Then you have to analyze the error. If you're not analyzing what you've done wrong, you will like really repeat the mistake and not improve as well. Afterwards, you have to plan further steps and then try a different approach. With our product development project, we had to got the task of developing a kitchen device. And without being able to try a different approach and accepting mistake and error and failure, because our first prototype was pretty shitty, we wouldn't be able to improve. So by getting the pattern of how to learn from mistakes from F1 in schools, we were able to develop this product in under 2 months. So then you got to repeat, of course, because it's all about repetition, and we want to achieve a flowing improvement pattern. So, and I think one thing that really helps all of you, you have to be bold. Put a grain of boldness into everything you do. Because we are at the World Finals, you are all basically doing an amazing job. You're part of the best 1% of F1 in schools, and you have great futures ahead. So you have to really believe in what you have achieved. So without you believing in what you have achieved, others won't do it for you. One like leading thought that was helping me for my career after F1 in schools was really like asking, does not cost anything? For example, showing Chase Carey our F1 car at the awards dinner was pretty awesome, but he didn't ask us to. You really have to approach a person you want something from. So one thing is pretty important, you have to establish contacts. No one else will do it for you, and you really have to be offensive about it. And like, don't be arrogant, but show pride in what you've done. This helped me with the Williams Engineering Academy. 2 weeks ago, I was attending a works experience and even visiting the the Silverstone Grand Prix over here. And it helped me with several other activities. So F1 in schools is basically an awesome networking opportunity. You should really use it as a door opener. Yeah, of course, no one wants to work hard, but we gotta remember, there's no substitute for hard work. But I really think there's an edge to it. Of course, we stayed up really long or got up really early to develop our World Finals car. But always remember, consistency is key. If you start too late and you're running out of time, you have done a mistake, basically. Start early and have a consistent workflow. You always got to remember, work smart, not hard. It's always about planning and having a structure in what you do. And of course, you must push for your interests. No one else will do it for you. It's your life and you decide how you can affect it. Yeah, and of course, hard work pays off. We made it to the World Finals and it was a pretty awesome experience. So in the end, we just got to remember, be bold, accept to do mistakes, correct them, and of course work hard. So that's what you can learn from me. Thanks for listening. I want to thank every one of our sponsors, of our supervisors of F1 in Schools Germany, F1 in Schools headquartered, for making my F1 in Schools experience so amazing. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Markus. We've got a little bit of time for Q&A. Do you want to? Yeah?
Of
Does
course.
anyone have any questions for Markus? Oh, come on. We can't have all 300 of you in here, not one question. Oh, there we go. I'll come round with the mic. Hold on.
I think Dave will come with the mic.
So, what do you do as Williams, as a member of the Williams Academy in engineering?
Okay, so we have basically units in the academy. So year by year you have different units. Of course, you start pretty easy and then it gets more difficult. You have a mentor that helps you with the unit. The mentor is actually a race engineer, race strategist, like an actual engineer in F1. And then you follow through the years, and in the end, the aim or the goal is to have a job in F1 as an engineer. So it's basically like a driver academy only for engineers.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you. Is the driver academy, not the driver academy, the Williams Academy running this year, or is it not? Like for people to join?
So this year there will be no recruiting. I think Katie will attend later on, I think in the next days. But this year there will be no recruiting. But as I mentioned, there's always an opportunity. Just go ahead, be bold, contact people. There's always a way to achieve your goal. So you won't be able to have an assessment center over here, but I think they're not hiding their email addresses anywhere. So just ask people and get in contact.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got F1 in Schools in your CV now. That's going to open a lot of doors for all of you. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, one at the back.
All right, I would like to ask you, like, the difference between the good teams and the greatest professional teams. Like, if you are here, you're one of the greatest that F1 Schools ever meeting. So, and also I could ask if you had some advice for who wants to be on the same position as you are now.
Sorry?
Someone's listening?
Okay, so basically, I think it's about trying to always go another way. It's like always finding your own path, because of course you can look up all the great teams, all the World Finals cars, and really have a look at them and adapt. But I think the key factor that made us pretty successful was always trying our own approach and testing it. And of course, you always have to be somewhat systemic and always document your mistakes to not repeatedly do them again. And if there's only one thing I could tell you, just look at the scorecards, because basically that's the most important thing.
Thanks, Markus. Probably got time for one more question if there's any out there. Oh, yeah, we've got one here.
Yes, my name is Donrak from Thailand, Team Ascension. I've got a question, something related to F1 in Schools. For starting teams who just got a chance to join F1 in Schools World Finals event, what advice would you like to recommend for these starting teams in terms of manufacturing the car?
Okay, first of all, I think you really have to do and not think too much in the beginning. Like really in the early beginning, it's okay to really have a lot of mistakes, but try to analyze what you're doing wrong. Like, this really sounds negative, you're doing so much wrong. You will do more right than you're doing wrong in the beginning, of course. And then, of course, it's important, try to talk to teachers, try to talk to universities, like universities will never not answer you any questions. Like there are professors for aerodynamics, for mechanics. They are always, like from my experience, they are always ready to share their experience and then try to adapt the academic content into your project. So it's really important to have a look at the industry. What is the industry doing? What is the academic part of engineering or even academic part of marketing doing? And then adapt like the status quo into your project. I hope that answers the questions.
Thanks, Markus. That's a really insightful insight to what you could do with your careers moving forward. So we're back racing in here in 10 minutes' time. And if you've got judging sessions, make your way down to the other end of the building. But thank you for your attention and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.